Oh, what's up, guys? How is everyone doing? I was just blankly talking to myself, thinking I was live when I actually wasn't. So now I'm gonna make very sure that I am actually live. Okay, now I am. I'm sorry. I mean, it's only been like a minute, but I did say a fair bit, so I'm just going to be giving you guys a general update on the market. Not much has changed. I wanted to put forward, a few ideas. You guys have already seen my Telegram post about the falling wedge within an uptrend. Yeah, now I'm live. Guys, welcome to the stream. Great to see you. Great to see you here. This was on very short notice, just because this stream isn't too important. Nothing interesting has happened lately. It's all very typical market movements I'll go into in just a second. Um, Guys, you've seen my Telegram post. I've even ran a poll on this on the community tab of this channel. 38% of you, that's the most anyone has voted for one of these options, chose basic charting patterns as one of the things I go over in terms of basic TA. So this is a bit of a taster of that, guys. Very simply, within an uptrend, you're going to get some periods of downwards movement. And that's just, to let the market correct and recover or whatever the deal is before it resumes the dominant trend. And guys, it's very clear that you cannot argue that this is a dominant trend going upwards. And this is a falling wedge. So there are a few counter arguments to this. Typical ones are things like it's not a falling wedge, that's bullish if it goes on for too long. I saw that today. Or someone else replied to my post saying that falling wedges have a poor sort of success rate for playing out. All very fair. My response to those types of things are, each and every single one of these orange candles are also falling wedges. It's just that they happened on a much smaller time frame. But guys, after such parabolic movement, you would expect a larger time frame correction. And so, this trend has played out and repeated itself many, many times throughout Bitcoin's sort of lifetime. Miles, can you leave a link to your Telegram? It is in the description of this stream. Yeah, in the description you'll find it, t.me/cryptomafiagold. So yeah, falling wedge within an uptrend. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's very clear that we're just going to go right back up. Of course, sentiment is pretty bad, so I'm sure a lot of you will say things like, yeah, well, whatever. You'll find a million reasons to disagree, and that's okay. I understand it's quite nerve-wracking and not very pleasant on the mind. Also, I just wanted to go to this post. I found it kind of funny. I mean, this is a post that I did like. This was 3rd of May. Uncomfortable truths. Bitcoin has no inherent value. This is a counter argument to it. Then neither does USD. It's used by criminals, so is USD. And then the third one, which I found kind of funny, wanted to reflect on that today. Bitcoin is going to zero. Short it then. And guys, we obviously know how that's played out. People did short it, and it's gone pretty badly. So yeah, I mean, Pomp, the guy who's a mega bull on Twitter, pretty famous for being so, has said 5 days ago that he's going to sign off Twitter for a little bit. Because he's a mega bull, he's getting a lot of backlash today, and that's been the dominant trend with Twitter today. Everyone is complaining about how other people are complaining to them. People like Pomp, people like Parabolic Trev, I think that's his name, Trav rather. Lots of other people who are bullish getting really hammered on Twitter today. And it's, this is just people who are taking what they say as financial advice, and even this stream is not financial advice, but I mean, it's just, I'm seeing a lot of anger in the market today. I'm glad that it's not showing with you guys. We've got a very nice and mature community here. But, let's go into this analysis here. I mean, this is just to give you an idea that sentiment is really worsening. The influencers in the space are getting a bad treatment right now, so I do feel sorry for them. None of it is their fault. Lots of other people with paid groups. I've had someone contact me with regards to VIP. He's been in another group, not going to name them. It's kind of obvious though. And they'd been shilling coins since like January, and of course all of them have gone to shit now. So, paid group owners are getting a lot of backlash at the moment just because everything is tanking so hard. I actually want to see Juan. Actually, Juan's going to be doing what Bitcoin is, so there's no point. But yeah, over to Bitcoin now. I'm on the hourly chart, and I never really go on such a short time frame, but I think it's relevant today, guys. I mean, guys, what we're seeing, it's so typical. It's kind of I mean, it's just such a typical trend. I'm kind of surprised we're still seeing things like this, but we are. So obviously, rising wedges have been you know, the thing that sort of exemplified this downtrend, and we've got yet another one here on this hourly chart. So we're setting higher lows, but the highs are staying the same. So you know, it's very clear we're probably going to break down, because within, you know, with a falling wedge, what happens is you're just going to follow the dominant trend. This is a very warped chart right now, but you know, the dominant trend is very clearly just going downwards. So you know, this is just a continuation pattern. It's a bit of consolidation before we continue our way down. I think it's extremely obvious. The volume dumping was pretty big. We were up to $16 billion. Today, on this up day, we're down to $12 billion. So guys, declining volume, whether you're going up or down, is a sign of a reversal. It's a sign that these bulls don't have strength. I mean, yeah, like I posted in Telegram, retail will never learn. I mean, it's such an obvious pattern that we're seeing play out here. I'm just surprised it's still able to happen. But I guess, you know, that's just the psychology of the markets. It's really something interesting to study, seeing how people fall for this stuff over and over again. David, you think we're at the anger phase? Actually, previously, I've even said that we're past all of those stages and we're in the disbelief stage. So either I'm a very smart person for predicting that, or I'm a complete idiot, because if we are in the anger stage, that only means we're in the second stage out of 5 for grief. So, you know, you get denial. That was dropping from 20k down to 17. That was denial, that we're just going to go right back up. Then we get anger, which I thought was, you know, as I previously said, was this capitulation down to 6,000. Bargaining, if only I sold at 20,000. Depression, I've lost all my money and I can't pay my bills. And then acceptance. So acceptance, disbelief, this is kind of where it comes in. And so I did point out that we could be at disbelief right over here. It still applies right now if we do end up going up, but it's going to become a disbelief rally in my eyes when we start going up with volume, but sentiment doesn't change. And until we see that, yeah, I mean, it's still going to be bearish in my opinion. It's just, we just need to see more volume coming in when we start going up. And at the moment, this is one of the most bearish charts I've seen in the past few weeks. Of course, it's only on the hourly, but, you know, we go to the 4-hour, which is a much more reliable chart to look at. This falling wedge is quite steep. So, I mean, it's a bit confusing to me. I don't know how to interpret this if it's such a steep falling wedge. Sorry, yeah. Is it falling? No, my bad. Rising wedge. We compare it to the previous one, much larger time frame, and it was a much more flat sort of rising wedge. So something a bit more like this would be expected, but it's still telling you the same story, really. I mean, it could be that this is a smaller rising wedge within this downtrend, a bit more like this one here. Let's draw a nice circle around it. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing something like this over here. I mean, it's played out over here as well. That was so bad. You know, it's just continuation patterns within a downtrend, which I think we're looking at right now. So, you know, like I said in my last stream, we could be looking at 5,800 as being a bottom when we start reversing. I think it's very possible. 5,800, I think it's like 5,880. That's when we start dipping into the double digits for billions in terms of market cap. And as we all know, market cap has to stay above 100 billion for CME and SIBO futures to trade it. If I'm not mistaken, actually, that might have been incorrect, but it's not a very good reason to say that Bitcoin won't go down further. It's just one of the small reasons that it could see a small bounce. But at the moment, you know, if you're going to be entering a short, I think that's a viable play. I did call that in VIP. I actually think we could climb a little bit higher, potentially even to the 6,400 support/resistance. Another concept I'll be going over in a future video. Very excited to go into those TA things. I think a lot of you will find it useful. Josh, do you use any indicators other than the RSI? I use quite a few, but for these streams, I don't like to turn them on just because I get a lot of feedback about how it's confusing as it is. So this chart is quite intimidating. You know, we threw the throw the Ichi and Bollinger Bands on, and it's just a complete mess. I mean, even this is too much for me. I don't load indicators on this just for fun. But, you know, things like this EMA ribbon, absolutely love it. We go over to this 1 hour chart and we are squarely on this resistance. EMA ribbons, when they look like this, when you're below it and you start hitting the lower ends of them, it's an extremely bearish sign. We're probably going to end up bouncing down. It's not really a bounce, is it? We're going to go down, break below this rising wedge. Like I said, I think it's a short-term one. I don't think it's going to play out over the course of weeks. So I did call it could break down within 24 or 48 hours. And that would mean pretty much any time now. But like I said, I could see a rise even up to 64, 63. A lot of people are calling. So it's very possible we start trading within this ribbon before we do go down. You only need a few whales to stop shorting and buying in. At the moment, Jason, it's actually, I think, a lot of retail investors going short right now, which is potentially cause for concern. So this is a terrible drawing of a teacup. Don't know why I've kept it here. Let me take that off. Take these indicators off as well. I mean, yeah, so we've got this cup and handle. It's played out exactly as you would expect it to, obviously. I mean, it's such a clear trend. You know, what I did call, I don't know if I put this on Twitter, but it was definitely on Telegram. I think we're going to see shorts rising. So we could see them rising up to, you know, what is this, like an all-time high for shorts, like it did around the early days of April before there is another massive short squeeze. It's very typical, you know, at very, very low levels like this. This is the bottom for Bitcoin in 2018. It's very typical that we're seeing shorts pile up when it's already at the bottom. All right, we're not seeing these levels of shorts when we're touching those resistance lines and when we're really looking bullish, because those are the times to be shorting. I mean, there's no point shorting when you're already at the bottom. But this is a very clear sign of retail investors going short at the moment. And it's not shaking my bullish bias for the long term in the slightest. You know, people talk a lot of shit, and it's so obvious looking at Twitter and things like that. You're seeing people calling numbers like 3,000 who before would never even think of anything lower than maybe 10,000. And they always act like they're so sure of what they're saying, you know? So you've got to bear these things in mind. Let's look at the longs chart now and see what's going on here. And I mean, it's still the same. This chart isn't even worth looking at. It's just been, you know, you're not going to get you're not going to get longs piling on at the moment. The sentiment is too bad, but I can definitely see a drop to maybe 58. That's the last level most people are looking at before it does turn very, very gloomy. So I think we will definitely get a bounce off 58 if we drop that low. For flies, I think it's pure capitulation. New era is coming in upcoming month. Yeah, it's possible that we go bull in, you know, July, August. I think that's probably going to happen. Is the triple bottom officially broken? No, it's not. The triple bottom, we're in that deciding point. So, you know, by the end of next week, probably we'll know if the triple bottom is a valid sort of theory. The triple bottom will be broken if we drop below 5,800, and it will be intact if we bounce up from here to say above 7,000, and we do so with volume. I think that's what would tell us pretty with good definitiveness, if that's a word, that this is a triple bottom. Could top out again in a few hours and dump Sonics. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Joe Lambert, yep, we got a short squeeze. We got to squeeze those shorts. Yeah, no, we do, and it's gonna happen. It always does. I expect the moment the Last of Us are ready to say, just fuck it, 5K is the bear, normal for a while, then bam, AI bots run us up to 100K in days. I think that is what's gonna happen. It's gonna take very hardened traders like us, the hardened hodlers, to finally throw our hands up and give up. It's going to take probably one cycle of that before, say, a week later, maybe a few days later, it starts going bull. I think it is going to be slow. I don't see it going up fast. Let's take these drawings off now. I don't see it going up fast once that happens, but it's going to be the turning point, definitely. You know, we could even see some stagnation around there for a month, maybe the bottom being 5,000. We could see, you know, just complete sideways trading there for a month or so. Very, very exhaustive. market conditions, and then continue and go up a little bit. Four Five, your thoughts on Tether and using it? Ash Jones, good question. I'm going to get you in VIP, by the way. I saw your email. I just didn't have time to send you the links. Yeah, so I'm very, very happy with Tether at the moment. The FUD has been clarified. I've stayed away from them myself because, if they were to be exposed, it would be a pretty nasty situation and you would lose, everything that you hold in Tether. But at the moment, it looks like those risks are mitigated, at least for the short term. And so, yeah, I would be looking to go into that as a potential option to hedge. Definitely. I think it's okay to use now. Charlie, if you look at the daily chart, Bitcoin and Litecoin is forming a huge bull flag. Just check that out. I mean, yeah, like I always point out, this, if you're talking about this entire trend, yeah, of course, it is a massive bull flag. It's a falling wedge, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's obviously what it is doing, I think. It's very clear to me. Let's check out Litecoin, though, because I think Litecoin had a much worse drop. It suffered a lot more than Bitcoin. I mean, $83 now, down from 420. Not looking good for Litecoin, but Litecoin's trends are not very predictable in my experience, so I can see this going completely sideways, maybe very, very slowly climbing up. Bear in mind, this is the daily chart, so Litecoin is a very slow mover, with the exception of what happened in, what was this, December. It's a very slow mover. But yeah, I can see it just shooting up whenever, when everything else has had its fun. I think that's when Litecoin will go absolutely insane. Let's go back to Bitcoin here. I'm going to take a few more questions, but I will have to be signing off quickly today, guys. Don't have much time for this stream, unfortunately. SS, is crypto dead? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's dead. I was watching a live chart yesterday when it was dropping like a fly, but as soon as it gone below 6K, it triggered a bunch of buys. Yeah, I mean, that's an area where people are thinking that we're going to get a bounce. So there's a lot of positive sentiment around this area from the sort of crypto influence. I don't like using the word influences, but there's no better word I can think of. So from the influencers, yeah, people thinking that that is going to be the bottom. So I think there are some, maybe institutional buy orders around there or whatever, large traders. But retail, I don't think would have been bagging that opportunity up too much. Doug should have said 5,700, not 6,000. Volume. Yeah, I know it's tiring, but unfortunately, it's just the reality. So what you mean short squeeze? Hami, good question. So with shorts, shorts, let's recap what it is. It's where people are betting that the price is going to go down. And it's like a risky way of selling. It's where you sell your Bitcoin in speech marks, I guess. You're not really holding Bitcoin, but you're betting it's going to go down. And if it does, you get more Bitcoin and you're in a pretty big profit. So what you get when you have a short squeeze is something like this, where shorts are very high and they get squeezed and they just drop right down. So what this means is if you short, this is going to fly over so many people's heads if you don't know about margin trading, but if you go short at, say, $6,000, your liquidation price is $6,500. Say we hit $6,500 in one massive pump, like we did on April the 12th. Let's see what happened there. So this is April the 12th. This was the short squeeze. Lots of shorts piling up here. This is the all-time high for shorts you guys just saw. We got a massive pump up. All of those liquidation prices were hit, and the shorts got squeezed. So the same thing happens with longs as well. It just depends. Obviously, that happened at 20,000, but yeah, that's the trend we're looking at. Everyone that believes in a triple bottom is an idiot, as we would need to touch the neckline twice for an actual triple bottom. This, my friends, is a descending triangle. Display, you're completely incorrect. Don't be so polarized like that. It's a relative triple bottom. Look up the Investopedia page. It doesn't have to be touching the same line. It has to be in the same general area. It has to be equally spaced out. And it has to be within an existing downtrend. Those are the main conditions of it. So, let's get this rectangle here. This fits all of the criteria for a triple bottom. The only thing we need to see now is a bounce with volume, a sustained bounce that goes up, which we will only know in hindsight. But To say that it's not a triple bottom because we didn't touch the neckline is completely incorrect. You need to brush up on your basic charting pattern skills. Remember Buffet saying, be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. Yeah, Joe, exactly. I mean, it's much easier said than done, but I think it's going to be very nicely rewarded if you are, right? And this is where fear is pretty much at an all-time high. It might get a little bit more worse before it gets better, but you know, this is where people will be setting themselves up to make very big profits in the future, I think. It's way more risky to bet on the downside in this context, no matter what any bear says. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I've even, you know, in Telegram, I've been posting that, you know, you can go short here, but personally, I'm setting this one out. I definitely think we're going to be going lower, but like you said, I just think the risk is too bad. I don't think the return is good enough, a bad risk to reward ratio, and so I'm sitting it out. And I definitely do agree with you there. Most people are scared shitless right now, which means time to buy. Yeah, I mean, it does. It tells you the general time to start loading up those bags. You're the only live stream that's worth watching all day. Thanks so much, Sonics. You're a legend. I see all of your comments. Absolute baller. I hope your bags pump 100x. Shake them out, yeah. Jokes aside, does McAfee selling his mines, you mean miners, play a role, and do we know how to use them now? No, do we know who has them now? My bad. I haven't heard about him selling his mining things. I have heard about him, the attempt on his life, pretty fucked up. But I don't know about other stuff. Have to use small percentages. Yeah, if you go in with big percentages on trades, you're gonna get wrecked. But yeah, guys, I mean, that's pretty much me done for today. So, you know, my short-term analysis today, I haven't got any mid-term looks, is that I do see us breaking down. It's the same trend repeating over and over. Volume is down $4 billion on a green day. That is no coincidence. I think we're just going to break down once more. Of course, there is always the likelihood that we're going to get one big market maker suddenly pump the whole market like April 12th and liquidate all of these shorts, but I don't think we're there yet. I think all of the signs still point towards a continuation downwards, and so that's what I'm looking at. I don't even think there's going to be a massive market pump, but of course, I may be wrong. None of this is financial advice. This is a time where I'm sitting out completely. I'm not even shorting, even though I feel definite in that. I just don't think it's worth it. We are in red, are in Ichimoku. What does that mean? Are we going to fall or push up? If we're in the red in the red in the Ichi cloud, yeah, we are going to go down, but I don't think we are at the moment. Yeah, we're not on any time frame, so don't need to worry about that. But guys, with that, yeah, I am going to be signing off. I hope you found something useful out of this. If you could smash those likes right before I go off, would really appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, that's me for today. So I'm out, guys. Peace.